The Chugach Regional Resources Commission is an intertribal nonprofit that serves the 7 tribes of the Chugach region of Alaska. That includes Chiniga, Eyak, Nanwalek, Port Graham, Chugach, Tutitlik, and Valdez. CIRC also owns and operates the Alutiiq Pride Marine Institute here in Seward that houses our Chugach Regional Ocean Monitoring Program. Throughout the region, there's been growing concern about harmful algal blooms, or HABs.
There are certain plankton in the ocean that, under certain conditions, and when there's lots of them, produce toxins that can then be taken up by shellfish and lots of other animals. That toxin builds up in the shellfish or other subsistence resources and can potentially make people very sick.
My grandmother would tell us to go down and get some mussels for lunch, and we did, and she steamed them up. And afterwards she sat down, she usually listened to the radio, and she heard that there was a red tide alert in Prince William Sound, so she made us go down to the beach and throw up. I had that bad experience, and I'm pretty worried about them now because of the red tide, but we used to eat them, all summer long. We didn't worry about the warmer periods when the algal blooms would proliferate. We never really thought about it till that one time.
People are more concerned. They are, looking out to the waters more. And I'll have people, I saw this in the water. Can you ask somebody, what was going on to have this, cause? And yeah, they are very concerned, not only, with harmful algal blooms, but the water warming. But it is, a pretty good topic because we've noticed, some weird things going on with the fish here and there. And so a lot of the community members do keep an eye out.
I think still these days people should probably be more conservative than they were before. I still harvest, and I have family members that still harvest, but we do it strictly in those months, that were traditionally used, that end with an R.
The state tests for commercial sites, but there's no state-run program for personal or subsistence use shellfish. So CIRC runs this program to help fill that gap. The Chrome program is made up of tribal samplers from each of the 7 Chugach communities. We also partner with other regional environmental programs and other tribes as well that are from outside the region. Samplers collect a weekly phytoplankton tow, a water chemistry sample, and a blue mussel sample. When we get the samples in, the water samples go over to our chemistry lab for carbonate chemistry analysis. The phytoplankton tows are filtered down and inspected under the microscope for HAB species.
So this is the water sample that was collected earlier today using the phytoplankton tow. What we do with this back in the lab is we filter this down, and I'll just look at a drop of this water under the microscope and look at the phytoplankton that are in it.
And then the blue mussel samples are analyzed for different biotoxins.
So these are the blue mussels that were collected here in Seward earlier today, and what we do with these back in the lab is we'll do biotoxin testing on them. So we'll extract domoic acid and saxitoxin from the tissue, and then we'll run a few tests and see what the concentration of both those toxins are in the tissue.
We use the federal regulatory limit, and if we detect anything over that, we reach out directly to tribal leadership, and we can create a report for them, and then we let them disseminate that data to their communities.
So Alutiiq Pride has taken it under our goals and objectives to test subsistence harvest shellfish for our region and for other tribal partners across Alaska.
One time where we were out sampling, and we sent in our water sample. They said, "This is really hot. Can you take another sample for us?" And so we did that. There was toxins built up in the shellfish, and that led to, we put together some informational posters and things like that to put around town, because the DEC and us, we can't tell people not to go and harvest on these beaches, but we were able to say, like, hey, we found like dangerously high levels of this toxin in clams on this beach. Like, please do not go and harvest here. We recommend that you don't.
CIRC doesn't make any recommendations on whether to consume shellfish, and Alaska is a harvest at your own risk state. So we just provide that information to tribes to be able to make their own decisions.
I hope that, we'll have a better hand, in figuring out, what's going on and be able to protect the waters more and let people know when things happened before.
Well, definite trends in what species are showing up in what months. And, that's pretty much a direct correlation to water temperatures. And like you just don't see a lot of plankton at all in the winter months. And then in the summer months, in the spring, you'll start to see a certain kind. And then, it changes into the middle of summer and then again in the fall. And so there's definite trends there.
you.